Sorry, guys, I started without unmuting. So let me start again. I was introducing our guest for the day. His name is Lolade Opaola. Please correct me. Did I pronounce it right? Your surname?
Yeah, Opalola.
Okay, cool. So Lolade is a passionate and results-driven product manager with a deep understanding of B2B platforms. His journey into the tech industry began with his bachelor's degree in computer science at Babcock. Then later he pursued a master's in information systems at Bowie. And his blend of business insights and technical skills has resulted in launching new feature ad formats and enhancing app marketing solutions. He's currently a product manager too at Yahoo, and he has a passion for learning and strives on challenges. And also, he remains committed to delivering impactful results in fast-evolving world of technology. And this last part is reflected in the topic you'll be taking today, which is the product career playbook, leveraging networking, mentorship, and AI. I'm particularly interested in this topic, so you could proceed, speaker. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Let me make sure I can turn on my camera and then share my screen to find the slide. Okay, can everyone see my slides? And can everyone see me?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so hi, everyone. My name is Lolade, like Latifa said. A little bit about me. I currently work on Yahoo. I focus on advanced TV and the mobile side of the advertising platform. Today, I'll be talking the product playbook, leveraging AI, networking, and mentorship. These are various areas that I'm really passionate about. So I felt it's nice, like a nice topic for me to talk about. So what do I do on the day-to-day? I work on an ad tech platform. So I'm one of those folks that works on a platform that disturbs you on your mobile and TV when you're seeing ads pop up. And some of these ads relate to you. So because it's a B2B platform, it involves coordinating with multiple teams through numerous meetings, sales, strategy, engineering. Daily tasks, usually crafting requirements, product brief, or go-to-market strategies. I've not done any PRDs today, but mainly I worked on some product briefs and trying to work on a go-to-market strategy for a feature I'm currently working on. Outside of work, I spend a lot of time playing games. So you can catch me on FC25 and maybe you beat me or maybe I'll win you. So on today, what are we talking about? I'm really excited to talk about this because in today's competitive landscape, product managers must effectively leverage networking, mentorship, and AI in order to progress in their careers. The presentation provides, I want the presentation to provide like practical insights and strategies on how to make use of these components in order to unlock and enhance skills, advancing your career path. By focusing on these key areas, I hope everyone joining this call today would be well equipped in their careers and in product management. I don't have an exhaustive list, but I hope you'll find some of these resources useful. So I broke down these different things into key pillars that I'll be talking about. The first is, I broke it down into 4 main pillars. The first is growing your professional network. So growing the professional network is like having a key to unlock cool opportunities getting useful insights, and working with others so that you can advance your career quickly. Some of all these folks are people that would link you to new jobs or future jobs, or they might help in maybe brainstorming sessions. The second part is having a personal brand and strong negotiation skills. A good personal brand enhances visibility, while effective negotiation drives career advancement. When I think of negotiation, I'm not just talking about, oh, money. I'm talking about negotiating role, or on today's call, I've heard many people talk about remote work or negotiating benefits such as remote work. The third part is leveraging AI. AI tools enhance decision-making, streamlining, they foster innovation, they make data modeling easier, and it also even makes job search and career advancements much easier. AIs are really good for repetitive tasks. Then the last one is in terms of continuous learning. Ongoing education, that's basically the art of reading and staying up to date with key trends in the industry. This can either be through reading books. Sorry, my slides are, okay. So this can either be through reading books or being a part of blog posts, or whether it's just watching YouTube videos. Different people approach continuous learning through different methods. This here. Okay. Sorry about that. So the first stage, we'll be talking about networking. Networking is not just about asking someone for a job. It's more like a process that can lead to establishing and nurturing professional relationships. And that can lead to career opportunities, knowledge sharing, and collaboration. Developing contacts and building long-term relationships. In product management, strong networks go a really long way. They help provide insights to the industry, helping trends. I have networks of folks that I met during my master's. And right now, some of those people that we used to break bread together or maybe go for events together, some of them are across the industry. Some are maybe working in big tech, some are working, some even have their own startups, and some are in different places across the globe. One thing I've realized is most jobs don't just come from sending out a job application. Most jobs come from people who know you and know your skills. Effective networking involves not meeting people, but also maintaining that relationship. It's important to maintain these relationships through communication and current engagement. Think of networking as a two-way street. You cannot just think of how you would get value from the person. You also have to think of how you would also add value to those people. So when you're asking for help or asking for insights, you should also be offering to be a good listener or offering to help. So a strong network is not just about quantity of the network, it's also about the quality of the network. Another thing, you'll see that I'm very goofy, so you guys will notice lots of GIFs on this different slides, so it's just my thing. So mentorship, the roles of mentors, finding the right mentor. How do we go about finding the right mentor? I'll say start in your circle. This can be your friend or a friend of friends. If you don't have someone in your circle, then I think it's time to maybe start bringing in new people to your circle. Another way is either to network in your industry. Over the years, some of my mentors have come from past managers, schoolmates, or folks I met in industry conferences, hackathons. Building a strong relationship requires open communication, mutual respect, and the willingness to learn. I'm glad to say lots of my mentors over the years have become really good friends of mine. Examples of successes I could find online are Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg. They mentioned, I read somewhere that they took walks in Palo Alto discussing how Zuck would end up managing Facebook and entrepreneurship. And in 2011 or 12, Mark Zuckerberg thanked Steve Jobs for being a mentor and friend, acknowledging his impact in changing the world. Another example is with Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. And I've read over the years that Bill Gates used to ask Warren Buffett for advice. In terms of all these type of things, I would just love to be on their table and listening to them gist and just stealing insights on how to invest my money. As for me, I was probably mentored by Bill Gates, but maybe he does not know that. But anyhow, in all honesty, I would say I've been mentored by lots of people all over the years. Some of them have been my past managers, some of them are my friends today. I try to get career advice from different people across the industry. Why? Because my career has also spanned, I didn't just start in products, I started in graphic design. And then I went from graphic design, I went to cybersecurity. And then from cybersecurity, I did some tech support. And finally, I'm in product management. But I'll say me breaking into product management was thanks to my mentors and people who saw me doing user support and tech support and also doing product design. And they were like, oh, you can code. You can also write business plans and you can talk to engineers, you can talk to designers. Have you thought of product management? And I'm like, oh, what's that? So after doing some research, I was able to break into the space. So I credit much of that to mentors who have given me advice over the years. The next thing I'll be talking about is building your personal brand. This is very important. Think of yourselves as a product that needs to be branded and packaged effectively. For example, a random pair of sunglasses might sell for less than $5 or 8,000 naira. But once you put that same pair of glasses in a Chanel bag and it carries a Chanel logo and is displayed in the right shop, then that's where you can start seeing that same glasses for like $300. If people think I'm lying, go to Chanel website and search for sunglasses. Similarly, I think everyone needs to learn how to package themselves in the right way and also like pitch themselves in the right shops. So this can be industry conferences or being a part of hackathons or being a part of communities like people in product. It's really important to build your brand. And in building your brand, you want to have things that you can create and engage with your communities. As for me, I do this by mentoring some students from my old schools or helping people break into the tech industry. I won't say I post as much as some other people. Why? Because creating content is a lot of work. So I don't post as much as a lot of people, but I have a really good friend named Dev who is really good at turning his experiences into relatable posts on LinkedIn. It's also important to optimize your LinkedIn and Twitter profiles. Basically, choosing the right social media app. Some people use LinkedIn, some people use Twitter, some people use Instagram. For me, LinkedIn is like my work life. I don't post work-related content in other social media because if not, I'll have my LinkedIn picture as maybe a test track. But I make sure my LinkedIn is as career focused as possible. And I optimize it as well as possible. What's an example of a good LinkedIn profile? A good LinkedIn profile has a professional headshot And you have your impact of what you have achieved and technologies you have utilized in each role, in each job role. It's also good to use industry keywords. It's also good to put organizations that you've been a part of. Why? Because those organizations kind of also publicize you. I saw a post from, I think, Jerry Lee, who is this guy on LinkedIn and Instagram that really talks about resume optimizing and LinkedIn optimizing. And he mentioned that most job applications, recruiters don't always look at what you're writing. The main things they look at are past organizations, impact. They want to see percentages, or they want to see how much you are able to make, or the metrics, and then they want to see your education. So most recruiters usually spend about 5 to 10 seconds on every resume they look at, because that's mainly their job. And that I also added here some stats, some LinkedIn stats that I was able to source from a recruiter friend. It shows that over 55 million companies are listed on LinkedIn globally. Over 14 jobs are listed on LinkedIn globally, and 2.7 million companies post on LinkedIn each week. And amongst all of that, 3,000 people are hired off LinkedIn every hour. So when you think about it like that, LinkedIn is really important. Why? Because it's a way to just publicize yourself. It's a way to create a living and breathing resume that you update regularly. Normally, everyone has their PDF resume, but they might not update it as much as they update their LinkedIn profile. So that's why I think LinkedIn and social media profiles are like really important, because it kind of gives you that clout in your career. So now when we're talking about job search and utilizing LinkedIn, this is another aspect where AI comes in. So how would we be leveraging AI in job search? AI can be leveraged as a template generator for creating optimized resumes for your job search. So how would you do this? You can use AI to craft summaries. You can use it to write experiences, achievements, or tailor job experiences, job descriptions. Some ways I've used AI in the past is using some prompts that I have. I can say, oh, hi ChatGPT. I like greeting ChatGPT because I respect it. Hi ChatGPT, generate a resume for this job title and that focuses on these skills of mine. And then I post my resume and then also post the job description. So another way is using it to like tailor toward the specific job. So tailor my resume to this specific job at this company. You paste the job description and then you paste your resume. And you can be another way, even a step further, you can say, what are some interview questions you think might come up from this job? And then it gives you the interview questions. And then a follow-up prompt can be, how would I go about answering these questions? And then it gives you, but ChatGPT at the end of the day, or most of this AI, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini, it would give you a bland statement sometimes. So you still have to go in and add the personal touch to make sure it's tailored perfectly to you. You don't just want to be reading off a script because experienced recruiters know when you're reading off a script. So in terms of using AI, another thing you might want to do is using AI in order to focus your learnings. What are the skills or experiences you think I should emphasize or learn in order to apply for this job? That way it can give you based on some of the industry standards, or it can easily like search through the internet. Some examples of this AI tools, I've mentioned ChatGPT. Another one is Gemini, powered by Google. Then Resume.io is mainly focused on creating resumes. Another one that I've started using recently is a browser. It's called Arc browser or Arc search. So it's ARC. Let me just type it here. So Arc browser. So maybe it was created maybe recently or over the last two years. It's basically thinking about breaking the browsing market. So think of browsing the internet, but now allowing AI to browse the internet for you. So there are many times I'm thinking of something and I'm like, oh, what are the biggest myths in product management? So instead of me going to Google and doing a Google search and then clicking all the different websites and blog posts and then reading through them, I can just type this on this Arc browser and click browse for me. And then it uses AI to scrub the internet and brings it with the sources. So there are many of these free AI tools online and in the space that can be really helpful when it comes to job search and interviewing. So negotiation. Now you've done the job application, you've passed the interview thanks to your skills, and now you want to negotiate. Negotiation skills are very vital in securing higher salaries, better roles, responsibilities. They are also really good in terms of career trajectory. It's good to really understand your market value, your worth, and also be able to negotiate confidently. In order to be good at negotiating, you want to know that you're researching industry standards. There are lots of sites that help. There's levels.fyi, there's glassdoor.com, there's Blind. I saw a couple of other sites that show salary and net worth in Nigeria, but I wasn't able to confirm them on short notice. So I didn't want to put things that I am not or I haven't 100% used. But one book that I read that really changed how I approach negotiation is this book called Never Split the Difference. It was written by a guy called Chris Voss, who was a former FBI negotiator. It's really weird that someone who used to negotiate for basically when people have been kidnapped or when people are doing bank robberies talks about negotiating to get higher salaries and things like that. But when I think of negotiation, I'm not just talking about higher salaries. It also involves negotiating for better benefits, negotiating for better roles. It wasn't until at some point in my career where I had a couple of different offers from different companies that I realized that, oh, the money is not always the main thing, because there were different companies and some were offering, maybe one company is offering a certain amount and then another company is offering maybe 10,000 lower, or another company is offering 20,000 lower. And then that was when I started looking at the different benefits. And there was this company at that time that was online and on LinkedIn and on every news post that was saying, oh, we are fully remote. And just basically saying they're fully remote and everyone is able to work from wherever they are. But in the contract, in the offer that they sent to me, they were telling me I have to move and I have to relocate. And I realized that even though they were offering a higher salary, relocation would have increased my cost of living. And then the company I went on with and I accepted their offer, they were telling me, oh, you can work from anywhere. And that was one key benefit where at that point in time I needed in my life. So when you think of negotiation, you're not just talking about the money. You're talking about some of these benefits. It can be health insurance. It can be the time off period you get. It can be where you're working from. It can be also relocation benefits. So it's really important to negotiate. I know I spoke to a recruiter a while back, and they mentioned that no recruiter will give you their best offer first. So that's why most times any offer, especially as a product manager that you receive, the first offer, don't accept it, raise it, raise and raise and raise them. So raise it as high as possible. And the reason most times is because by the time a company is giving you an offer, when they're sending an offer letter, they have already rejected a couple of people. So at that point in time, it's going to be much harder and more expensive for them to go back and start the recruiting process all over again. And the recruiter at that point in time just wants to be done with that job rec opening and like close it. So that's why at that point in time, it's really important to negotiate, and it's really important to know your value. It's also important to negotiate really early on, because by the time you start working and promotion comes along, most times when it comes to promotion, there's usually a standard increase and things like that. You can also negotiate that, but you don't have as much freeway in the negotiation. So now you've got the job, what's next? You can also leverage AI in product management on a day-to-day in jobs. AI tools help in streamlining repetitive tasks, allowing you to focus on strategic initiatives while improving data-driven insights. Personally, I use AI in idea brainstorming, data management and analysis, and also launch plans. Apps like ChatGPT and in-house, currently where I work, we have an AI tool that's powered by ChatGPT called Glean. I use it. Why? Because it has historical context on some of my past products or past features, or it knows a little bit more about who I am, and it's also secure, and it's been approved by the office's security body. So I like to use this. Why? Mainly in terms of brainstorming ideas, or I remember when I used to learn how to code, there were times when just one line of code is wrong, and then you have to like keep looking at line by line. But right now you can just use AI to look at your code and see what's wrong. Some other tools in this space are Gemini. I've also worked with lots of engineers who mentioned that, yeah, sometimes they use AI. In product management, it's much harder to use AI. Why? Because most times you're the one that is drafting most of these documents from scratch, and AI might not be able to help. When it comes to engineering or looking at code, it's a bit easier. Some other ways that AI has been implemented in the industry is in product analytics platforms like Pendo and customer relation management tools. On some of my products, we've used AI to check in and aggregate customer feedback, which has led to some tickets that my team and I can work on either as a bug fix, or we can add to a future roadmap item. So we've used AI to collect some of this feedback and then aggregate it and then be able to easily source it. In the past, this would be a hectic, repetitive work that we need to be checking in every day. On some of my other products, this one in particular, it's a reporting tool. I've implemented AI by using it to train large data models. We have a small set of raw data. Let's say the raw data looks at everyone that is using a Google TV in Nigeria. And then with the help of my research scientists, we can use that raw data to create a data model that accounts for everyone who watches any TV that's connected to the internet in the whole of Nigeria. So that way we can use raw data just from a particular state like Abuja and Lagos, and then we can use it to accumulate through AI and data modeling for the whole of Nigeria. I would like to suggest that it would be really helpful to take some AI courses some of which are offered by Pendo, IBM, and Google. Some courses focus on using AI to improve their products, while some focus on using big data to enhance decision making. So in terms of talking about AI, I would like to say the numbers don't lie. I sourced this chart from Product Growth, which shows a research by University of Maryland that tells how fast or how big companies want to hire PMs with AI expertise. There has been a rapid increase in AI PMs, job postings that say maybe artificial intelligence PM or AI PM. And there's also a higher salary for folks who are working on AI. So right now, think of AI or anything that involves large data modeling as how the cloud industry was back in the day. So some of these folks are being paid higher and things like that. So that's why I would really suggest that taking some of these courses and just being knowledgeable in this area is really important. So now in terms of continuous learnings, with the rapid evolution of product management as we know it, continuous education keeps up to date with the industry's trends, methodologies, and improving our strategy. Some recommended reads which have helped me over the years. The first one here is Inspired. It was written by Marty Kagan. This book looks at building successful tech products, and it gives examples from big tech companies like Netflix, Google, and how they were able to build some of these successful products, empowering product teams, solving real customer problems, and discovery, iteration, and creating a strong product culture that fosters innovation. The second book is The Lean Product Playbook by Dan Olson. Here, Dan Olson mainly focuses on step-by-step frameworks in how you can develop products that meet markets needs using startup principles. It's emphasizing on rapid experimentation, customer feedback, and rapid improvements. The only thing with this is sometimes it might not really work with big companies, which involves like lots of various channels. But this is really effective if you're working in a small company or in a startup. The third book is one of the books that really changed my life. I read this just when I was breaking into the product industry, Cracking the PM Interview by Gail Lakeman and Jackie Bavaro, if I remember correctly. This is basically a comprehensive guide to landing a PM role, from resume edits to how to speak during interviews. It covers everything you need to know in landing the product management career. And it also provides insights into what some of these tech companies look for and how they differentiate or how they think about their product management employees. The third book is something I already spoke about, Never Split the Difference. He was a hostage, Chris Voss was a hostage negotiator for FBI, and he speaks about some of his experiences, emphasizing how you can use emotional intelligence, tactical empathy in talking about negotiation. And he also teaches strategies on how you can negotiate both for a business and in personal situations without compromising on your goals or what you want to get from those negotiations. Then in terms of valuable blogs, courses, and communities, some that I've seen over the years that have really been helpful for me. I grouped blogs and podcasts together because some of those websites or blogs also have their podcasts. There's Mind the Product, there's Product Coalition, and there's Product School. I know Product School has a podcast that I also listen to on Spotify and Apple Podcasts every now and then. And then in terms of courses, there are usually lots of courses. I don't think I think there are so many product management courses, but you just have to find the one that relates to what you want to learn. I haven't taken everything, and I haven't done so many certifications, but it's what the knowledge you want to learn that I'll say you should take a course in terms of that. And sometimes courses or certifications can also be used for bragging rights. So there are courses from Coursera, Udacity, LinkedIn, and then there are certifications from Product Dive, AIPPM, and Product School. Some of the certifications are really expensive, so I'll tell you to just pick and choose the one you want to go after. The only other thing I would say is when it comes to LinkedIn courses, because most times people who take LinkedIn courses post the course on LinkedIn, it doesn't really, at least from what I've seen, it doesn't add value to your LinkedIn page a lot. Because everyone is already used to seeing the LinkedIn logo. But if you take a course from Google or take a course from IBM, it adds more sass to your LinkedIn profile. Then it's also good to be part of communities. Some of the communities have been opportunity to be a part of. The first one, People in Product. And I'm glad all of you are part of this. Why? Because the Slack channels are usually bubbly. They always post things that you can relate to, and they always host some of these events where you can network and engage with people in the industry. Another one is Black Product Managers Network, Product Dive, and National Society for Black Engineers. So in wrapping up, if you're going to take anything away from this, I want you to look at all these key areas I've spoken about. Look at which aspect plays a role for you, whether you are new into the product management space or whether you're an experienced PM. I need you to create a networking plan that includes attending industry events, engaging with PM communities, leveraging social media. A good aim is to connect with 5 new professionals monthly. Shoot for the stars, land on the moon. So if you aim for 5 and you're able to connect with 4, that's also still good. It's also good to try to see how you can integrate AI tools into your workflow to enhance decision-making and productivity. Explore tools for data analysis, customer insights, and product management. In summary, I would say leveraging networking, mentorship, AI, negotiation skills, and personal branding is essential for all product managers in order to strive for career growth. These strategies don't only enhance your professional presence, but also open doors to new opportunities and insights. And I encourage each and every one of you to identify a strategy from today's discussion and implement it in your career journey. So, any questions?
Okay, before we get into questions, thank you very much for this session. It was really insightful. And so if we have any questions, we could raise up our hands, unmute and ask. If we are shy or tired, we could ask the question through the chat box. So we already have 2 questions. So we'll start with the first one, and then I'll start calling people to ask. So could you recommend some specific great AI tools for product management?
So the easiest and the easiest one most people use is ChatGPT. I think of ChatGPT as my guy. There's a nickname that one of my friends gave ChatGPT, Chateau. So every time we want to chat with it, we're like, our guy Chateau. Now where did we get the idea? Now Chateau help us. So over time, I've had like brainstorming sessions, and this includes maybe interviews or other things like that. I usually like to be specific when I'm creating some of these prompts, and I can say that I've created some really good prompts over time. But personally, at work, the tool I use is Glean, and that's because it's implemented with the workspace. So I don't want a situation where I'm putting company secrets or company stuff on ChatGPT, which is a public space. So personally for work, I use Glean, which is the company's tool. Another tool is Gemini. So if someone is really into like the Google space with their Gmail, their Google Drive and Google Docs, Gemini is a really good tool that you can use. And another thing I have seen, at least in lots of spaces, are some of all these products have started to use AI. So you have Adobe saying they're using AI. You have Windows. Windows has Copilot. Figma also has an AI tool now. So if you're doing product design for maybe a feature, Figma has an AI tool. I use Pendo a lot for product analytics to see how my feature is doing. So Pendo also has an AI tool now. So those are some that I can suggest, but I'll say maybe the most accessible is ChatGPT.
Okay, thank you very much. We have two hands up. Victor, go ahead with your question.
Thank you very much, Pick Upstein. This Lolade, this as regards to, so I'm a Nigerian. I work as a product manager here in Nigeria, and I work for a company in abroad, Ukraine to be precise, as a product manager. But then, because of the fact that it was based on contract, so my contract basically expired last month, at the ending of last month. But then I see it's very, very difficult actually to get jobs actually from the international space actually. It's very, very difficult. What's your view on that? Or how do you think for people who are in Nigeria, maybe for some reasons or two, they don't want to relocate right now, but they want to get jobs abroad? What do you think? What is your view on how they can navigate it or how they can work across that? Thank you.
Thank you for that, Victor. That's something that I relate to very well, and I've heard a lot about. I know it's very, very hard being in Nigeria and getting jobs in the international markets. Why? Because I have lots of friends who are in that same boat. The main way that I've seen that, at least with some success stories I've heard, I was talking to someone last month. He's based in Dublin, and I was very surprised because I came here as a student, and he mentioned that he did not go to school in Dublin. It was basically he got a job with Facebook, and then he was able to move to Dublin. So most of the folks that I've seen that have success stories like that, the way they were able to go about it was mainly through networking events or conferences or recommendations. Even while I'm based in the US, and even in the US, it's really hard getting roles. I usually suggest to people that you should be sending out at least 10 job applications a day and then also networking on top. So that way, every week you can have at least 70 applications sent out. Talk less of someone that is outside the country. One thing I've noticed, especially in the US and with lots of big tech companies that have been happening recently, is there have been layoffs, and to some certain extent, they are looking for I don't want to say cheap labor, but they are looking to reduce costs and be more lean in their finances. So I've seen some of these companies hiring people outside of the US. So that's either in Dublin, in Ireland, in Romania, some in Nigeria, then some also in India. So once the company has a footing in that country or has some folks in that country, they are usually more inclined to hire from that country. I hope I really answered the question, but the main way I've seen that it works is usually through networking, but there's also the hard work of sending out many job applications.
Okay, thank you for the answer. Chugo, go next.
Lolade, it's nice to meet you virtually. My name is Charles Chiobi. My Google account has my name as Chugo, which is my middle name. I'm based in the US, and I reached out to you, I think, 2 years ago, and by LinkedIn asking about some advice and breaking into the field. And I remember you recommending the Decoding the PM interview. That book is like my Bible now. Since then, I've been able to interview for a couple of PM roles. Not been successful yet, but I've been successful in getting jobs in the IT project management space, which exposes me to those type of responsibilities, and it also helping me build up my portfolio. Now, my question is, do you have any recommendation for where one can find personal projects or group projects in the effort of trying to build up your portfolio?
All right, thank you, Charles, and thank you for being the only one turning on camera today, so I don't feel lonely. So in building up portfolio, like some ways that I have gone about it over the years was through hackathons. So while I was in school, my bachelor's degree, I usually ignore it because I was not serious that time. But after my master's and then after my bachelor's degree, there are design projects that I did that helped the products, because that time I was just a graphic designer. But as a product manager, I was able to revisit those projects and then look at how the design helped. So I was able to finesse some of those projects and say, oh, I met with the designing team. Last is me, myself, and I. And this is the metrics that it used, and it improved the product. Another one was hackathons that I was a part of. So I was able to sit with other folks in the hackathons because they broke us into teams. And there were engineers, there were designers on that team, and I was the one that presented it. So at that point in time, I had knowledge in software engineering, designing, presenting. I was the one who wrote the business plan, and I've been able to put some of all those things on my product portfolio. Definitely experience helps, but at the end of the day, if you're looking at almost every work you've done, you can be able to think of what the problem was, why it was a problem, how it's related to the user, and what you did or how you went above and beyond to solve that problem. And after you solve the problem, or after you claim you solved the problem, there are usually performance indicators or metrics that you look at that, oh, this was successful. Like right now, for some of my feature launches, I'm looking at how many times is that feature being used. So I'm looking at what are the clicks, what is, how is the customer navigating that feature. And a lot of times, because I work on an advertising platform, and I look at the advertising spend or the advertiser spend. So how are they spending on my product? And I'm like, these people are spending plenty of money. They like it. Stuff like that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So the next person is Sanmi. Go ahead and ask a question.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lolade. Yes, actually, I also want to ask about the issue of getting job, remotely from abroad, especially in US. I noticed that they always ask whether you have license to work there. So it has been so difficult to get job over there when you are in Nigeria. So I don't know whether you have a way or how one can go about, trying to escape that, or I hope you get what I mean. Then another one question I have is, using AI to write user story. user story as a product manager? Is it the best? You know, is there any better way? Because writing user stories, you have to look at the perspective of the users. You have to read their minds. What are the problems they are facing? They want to fix. You know, so using AI, will AI be able to read user's mind? Is there any way, you normally do this so that you can get the best out of AI? Thank you.
Thank you, Sami. So the first question, they always applying for remote jobs in the US. Yes, they always ask for work authorization. And I'm sure even anyone on the call that is in the US too, that's something we're faced, because even while I was a student, that was like a bar that I could not really cross, because sometimes they ask for work authorization and you should be able to work full-time, not part-time, and things like that. So most times, at least for the US and for some remote roles, it is until either the company helps you to relocate or you are able to relocate. I've seen some cases where some companies, maybe they really like the person. And most times it usually involves somebody in that room that you don't have access to, basically carrying your matter on their head. So they help in relocating or they help in getting a work visa. With the US, you can't work, maybe if they are paying you in dollar, because they want to tax that money and things like that, without an EAD, that is a work authorization or maybe a work visa. Some other ways some companies have done it, especially in Nigeria, is the jobs are contracted out to some Nigerian organizations. So those Nigerian organizations act as third parties. So they now employ people to those Nigerian organizations. And it is that HR organization that is now paying the salary and doing some of the recruiting for that company as like a third party or as a middleman. So that's another way. But in terms of like bypassing the work authorization, those are the only ways, because even for me right now, work authorization is something that keeps people awake, and you have to renew it and things like that. I'm sure in some other countries it might be easier, either through relocation or through just employing. But for most companies I've seen that employ people remotely in Nigeria or help people relocate, it is usually a situation where they have a footing in Nigeria. So they have an office in Nigeria or they have a job space in Nigeria. And I've seen this with some auditing firms like Deloitte, KPMG, and the likes. Then in terms of the second question was user story and using AI. For me, I'm kind of old school with that. Why? Most times I like drafting it myself. Yes, at some point in time, I might use AI to make it more presentable, because I've realized that many times when I'm doing email threads, long email threads, especially when it involves business stakeholders, I sound too casual sometimes. And I'm like, oh, hi everyone, or hi guys, this is this. So I usually use maybe AI in terms of sounding a bit more professional. So when it comes to user stories, for me, most times I like having all those one-on-one conversations with users or understanding the problems. Can be either through tickets or sourcing some of this feedback. And then over time, I gather the feedback together. And if I'm creating maybe a map of how they are flowing in the product, I draw it by myself. Or if I'm writing some of this out, I write it myself, and then I can now paste it into an AI tool and say, this is a user story I was thinking about. Can you help me make sense of it? Or can you help me make it presentable or make it sound professional? I'm trying to use it in so presentation. Does that make sense for me?
Yes, it does. It does. Thank you, Lolade. I really
Thank you.
appreciate And I would like to have your jubilating name and all that so that we can get in touch. Thank you.
Problem.
Okay, thank you. I'll drop his LinkedIn link on the chat box. So we are technically out of time, but I'm going to allow extra 10 minutes to see if we could answer the remaining questions. I think the next person is Ashnet. Please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi Lolade. So I think I am the only one in the meeting who is based in India. So like my name is Ashni Thura, and I have been a cybersecurity engineer for 2 years in PwC. But since it was a complete technical role, and being a psychology enthusiast, product management, like it intrigued me. So I'm here like aspiring for this field, and I'm just in that journey of knowing more about it. So I am interested more into like consumer psychology and human behavioral science, like the behavioral metrics of the customers, and how to attract them to our product, and like see their behavior, and then iterate and test and like do all those things that goes according to the product. So I saw all the categories of a PM, and there was internal product manager, consumer product manager, B2B, technical. So I did not really go with technical, and B2B is also not into my fit. So I was confused between internal PM and consumer PM. So like I also saw the roles and responsibilities of both the fields, but I was still like confused, since my forte does not lie more in technical, but also it lies in project management and psychology. So can you tell me like which of these two should I go with? Either of them?
So actually, I might not be able to exactly tell you which one to go for. I totally understand, because I also did cybersecurity and cyber intelligence just before diverting into product management. So I did lots of social engineering and that. I would say the first thing you should do is create a product management resume. And that's where you're talking about metrics and things you've worked on in the past. I'll try to answer really fast so others can talk. So creating that resume is really important. And then after that, applying for some of those jobs. While applying for a job or doing a job interview, as they're interviewing you, you're also interviewing the company. So that way you're knowing more about the roles. For the longest time, I also wanted to be on the consumer side. Why? I want to be able to point at my product and say, I built that. Right now, I don't think anyone on this call has used any product that I built, but lots of big companies that are able to reach you guys have used the product I built. So many times it involves those type of little things. So I would say starting with creating the resume, and then as you're interviewing, as you're working on tweaking your cybersecurity resume into a product management resume, it will become more apparent if internal PMs is the perfect one for you, or whether it's consumer PMs.
One last question, Lolade. So, my role was cybersecurity engineer, and I do not know whether the companies out there would prefer, a complete technical background, because I do not really want to go with the technical PM. So, I want to like develop my resume into a that at least sounds like a product management role. So I was framing the cybersecurity role into a product role. So like, can I do it, or maybe like, can I sound like one, so that they at least get to know that I have some kind of experience? Because I don't want to sound like a fresher after having like an experienced background.
Yeah, so even though it's a cybersecurity role, there are lots of product managers that work in the cybersecurity space. So with Yahoo, there's the cybersecurity team is called Paranoids, and there are product managers who work with them for some of these internal security features. So in that space, some of the technical background would be helpful. I won't say you should remove all of your technical background in the cybersecurity space. I would say you can tweak some of those things so that you can talk more about, oh, why was it a problem? What are the ways you collaborated with the team to solve the problem? Don't just say, oh, I solved the problem, or I was able to block this malware. You should be starting with, oh, these were the strategies that were involved in blocking this malware, and this was the success we got from blocking this malware.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. Grateful for your help.
Thank you, Ashnit.
You're welcome. Oluwatobi.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Yes, I am. Thank you, Lolade, for the insightful session. My question is, you mentioned that we should try to apply for jobs like 10 jobs in a day and 70 in a week. And I have concerns because, yes, I've had to apply for jobs and I know how demanding it can be. And you're also advised that you should be strategic with every application. So how do you strike that balance between being strategic and applying for several jobs in a day, especially because even composing a CV at times, trying to tailor your CV can take you hours, and you still need to work on building your portfolio, do other things that you have to do in life. You still have to basically combine all of these things, and then you need to also prepare for interviews in the process of all of that. How can you do this? Or is it that you just keep applying like absent-mindedly?
Okay, that's a really good question. So when, at least for me, when I was a student, I was trying to do more than the 10 job applications a day. And for me and my friends, we had a group chat, and we would just be sending out all the job links that we've seen, and then we apply to them. And then you'll notice after you start applying to lots of jobs, so having one staple product manager CV is good. And then from there, like now, tweaking that resume towards like some other product manager roles is also good. So having maybe tweaking it towards an AI PM, or tweaking it towards a PM with data background, or towards a cybersecurity PM. So that is where the tweaking comes into play. But you should have like at least your go-to product manager resume that you're updating maybe every month or every couple of months. The other thing I would say to that is the best time to look for a job is when you have a job. So that way you're able to like stay up to date with industry trends, and you're able to know your value. Most people trying to break into the space, I'm like, just do 10 a day. If you are able to try and target that, and maybe you're doing 9 a day, that's still good. But when someone is telling me, oh, they are looking for a job, and I say, oh, how many jobs did you apply to today? And they're like, oh, just one job. It does not really say a lot, because the main thing is if you're actually like searching, you search. And then in terms of like interviews, for me, I like my interviews when I'm doing it kind of compressed. So maybe I did an interview on Monday. I want to have another one on Wednesday. Then after that, another one on Friday. Because if all the roles are similar, that way I'm getting into the flow. I'm getting into the streak. Because once everything is able to roll out of my tongue, once my lamba is coordinated, like it helps with your confidence. And that way, once maybe they are sending the offers or you're doing well, you can now negotiate all of them together. And that way you can either pick or choose. But if it is very spaced out, that is when they fall into the issue you're talking about, where they have to be preparing for one, then 2 months later they are preparing for another one, stuff like that. So me, I really like it compressed, and that way I can do everything at once.
Yeah, thank you. But many times you're not in control of that.
True.
Because you would not offer yourself this job.
True. Another thing I've noticed is
Thank you.
yeah. Okay, good.
No, you were about to
I
say
think
something, please. Please,
oh
I'm
I think
listening.
there are two more people, but so the thing I've noticed, there are usually peak periods of hiring. One peak period is right now, usually between September and ending of October. And then there are usually some others in the March period where people are usually hiring a lot. So that's just something to note.
Thank you for that tip.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you
thank you
very
so much.
much. Next person is Urena.
Okay, hi, Lolade.
Is it about the question you posted on the chat
Sorry?
box, or it's another?
Yeah, it's the same question. I just wanted to, I don't know if you
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so my current, is that the question? My current
yes,
role, the interview
yes.
process. Okay, so the interview process for my current role, most times it involves first a recruiter phone call, and then after that you speak with the hiring manager, and then after that there's usually a day where you get like 4 interviews, 1 hour interviews, split into 4. So you talk to 4 different people, sometimes product sense, sometimes product execution, product strategy, and sometimes a technical round. The hardest question I got hit with during my interview process was design a pen for a blind person. So yeah, that was hard. I was just blabbing, and then in between that, the guy Balaji was like, Lolade, do you think a blind person needs a pen? And I was like, you can't catch me. So I went to start saying, oh, the pen I was actually designing was going to be like a personal assistant. So something like Alexa, where blind people can talk to it. So they don't necessarily need it to sign documents and things like that. So that was what saved me. But yeah, those were the way my interviews went. So I hope I answered that.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. But do you mind also sharing how you also prepared for it? Like, did you have like mock sessions with like your peers, or did you have a particular group? I know people say like Louis Lane's group, or is there a specific way you were able to prepare, like your mentors?
For me, I didn't prepare with lots of people. I have friends, and for me, my best way to prepare for interview is, like I mentioned, having lots of interviews around that same period. One really good way that I prepared was there's this channel on YouTube called Exponent. They have mock interviews. So I was able to get questions from that YouTube channel. I wrote some of them down. I saw how people answered them, and I created my own answers from my experiences, and I started writing some of them down. So after different interviews of me saying those answers, at some point in time, I was no longer reading the answers. I was just able to say it from heart. So watching YouTube, that Exponent, I'll try and find the website and just drop it here. But Exponent on YouTube was very helpful. And there are usually some others in product school on their YouTube page, but Exponent was the best for me.
Okay, thank you. And one last question. Your hiring process with Yahoo, was it like did you have a referral, or was it just you applying, randomly on their websites?
So in my case, there was a recruiter who reached out to me. She saw me at a conference or hackathon, and she was like, oh, would you be interested in product management? And then I was like, yes. And then she sent me this YouTube page that I'm actually sending to you. No, she first asked, oh, have you done a product interview before? And I was like, nope. And then she sent this. So that was initially how I got an internship, and then following up from that and also applying to others, that was when I started applying myself. So in order to come back and do that, I applied myself. But very early on, it was a recruiter who reached out to me.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Last but not the least, Damilare.
Okay, Damilare, proceed with your question, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Lolade. Yeah, actually, my question, some of the question I was about to ask has been answered earlier, but then as an entry level, actually, I'm about to, let me say, I'm about to finish my course on project management. So I will need your recommendation and advice as a project manager as an entry level. How do I compete with project managers who have had field experience on the field when it comes to job applications? How do I try to fit in and be the one to be able to land the job?
So many times, at least for me, many times it's your resume is usually like your advert. So most times no one knows anybody has more experience or any experience until you send your resume. So it's how you put your experience in your resume. I know some people break down work experience and project experience. Some people just put experience and then they talk about work and then they talk about projects that they've worked on all in the same body. And then it is after that, the way most people cast that they don't have much experience is in the interviews. But if you are able to tailor your resume, that way at least you can get to the interviews and you can now like prove yourself. That is something that would you will constantly be facing, competing with other PMs in the space. Why? Because product management is highly, highly competitive. I know there's this website, APM list, that might be helpful depending on location. So this APM list website usually shows companies that are hiring for APMs. And usually the best way sometimes to break into the product management space is either as an APM or an intern. So that way you're able to put something on your resume or you're able to, but even in applying for some of this, you still need something on your resume initially. So, but it's able to at least give you that first step.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this session. Also, thank you for the links you shared in the chat box.
Thank you. Okay, I think I'm out of gifts.
Before we leave, I would like to invite us to our other events. Okay, so we have programs like this every week. On Tuesdays, we have interview prep session and group mentorship session alternatively. And on Thursdays, we have webinars like this. Then Saturdays is like a therapy session. You just come to rant about your week, the highlights of your week, the most challenging aspect of your job. It's just a safe space to talk to fellow PMs that can relate to your challenges. And follow us across socials to get updates about this event. And also, please join us on Slack. This slide will be shared there soon. And thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Lolade.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Have an awesome rest of your day, guys.
You too. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Regular mail updates. Hashnet, join the channel. Hashnet, you could join Slack and you get the regular updates there. Also, follow us across socials.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, that's all the questions. Bye, guys.